Sorry, I've just been outside, it's raining. I just took my dogs out. I just wanted to do a quick video to just show you this, because it's driving me mad at the moment. I just wanted to talk a little bit about how my patterning works, because like I know me and Melissa are going to start working together, and there's all these people in here, you know, like this group that that we're talking with, and I know I keep talking about like being present and then being present and then being present. Like I saw something Russell Brand did yesterday, and I watched it with Fern Cotton and stuff, and they're talking about some days, you know, they make all these phone calls or they want to go and do all this stuff, and then another day they don't want to do it, but they're on a high one day where they're making all these plans, and a lot of it is to do with, the collective and the planets aligning differently. Like I said in my last video, like when you make arrangements to do things and then the planets align differently the next day or the next week, and you don't want to do that stuff anymore. So like even with the YouTube and that, you know, painting this and trying to get it out is actually stressing my brain out, because I don't function well with writing. Like I literally don't like writing emails. I don't like, you know, that's why I went to exceptional individuals in central London who helped me, because I struggle in today's society. People with my brain function, creative brain function, struggle in society. The way it works, you know, in London, like, it's hard to get around if you don't have a smartphone, or you don't have an Oyster card, or you're not using money or bank accounts. How do you survive in a city? Do you know what I mean? And then I still need money, and I still need all this stuff to go out to Cambodia to pay for my visa and that. Yeah, I live off grid out there, but I still have to pay to be in that country. Why do I have to pay to be in a part of the earth? You know, live healthy. What's up with that? Do you know what I mean? So all these things are rolling around my head, and yeah, me and Melissa want to move forward and do a YouTube channel together. Yeah, but it stresses me out creating. This is why I'm sticking with exceptional individuals and talking to them on certain bits. And like, where do we go from here? YouTube is stuck. It's stuck in like a rut, you know, like that's what it feels like. Yeah, more people are joining it, but the more and more I look at some of the stuff on there, like, actually annoys me, because it does feel like it's just stuck there. Do you know what I mean? Like, people need to start becoming present. Yeah, it's a bit better than Facebook, because it's actually people talking about real stuff, like more documentary stuff, and like people's real lives, which needs to happen, and these groups are meeting and that. But like, we need to start looking at ways forward out of this space, because it is still owned by the deep state, and a lot of it is being manipulated still. Do you know what I mean? Like, and people commenting on these videos, like I've had people comment on my videos, they have no idea really what, like one guy talking about the video with Ted, he doesn't understand that I'm trying to get across Nerodiverse, and that these kids also struggle to talk about even what's wrong with them, because nothing is wrong with them, and there's something wrong with society, and yeah, everyone's got so many different perceptions, and then they're just typing, they're not understanding like the full baseline of it, the full frequency of it, because people are just talking in these videos, like I'm doing now. But you know, I want to talk in this language. This is the language that I want to speak in, you know, and this here, or what this is affecting me doing this. I just want to be painting, and like, when I'm there, I'm going into another space of myself, and that this is a space that nobody really understands, and yet a space everyone needs to be exploring, but they're not. And it's just like, I'm feeling quite trapped, because I've done so many things in my past, like I've done so many exhibitions and so much other stuff in my past, and actually going back down that route is giving me anxiety, because I don't want to be on Facebook uploading all this stuff. I don't want to be on it. I want to be creating. My dyslexic mind doesn't want to cope with it, and I see patternings, and like all these ADHD and these dyslexic people, yeah, I keep talking about it, they do see patternings, like in this painting. The colours don't even come up as great on here, you know, but I'm painting the heart. And then there's Gaia, the tree. Underneath that's the Merkaba. So I'm trying to show the patterning, yeah, of the roots below the trees, yeah, become the veins of the heart, because they look the same. The way the blood veins go around the heart and pump it. So there's 7 layers to the heart. So I'm painting 7 layers to this, and then also, like, I want to make the veins around the heart look like the coastline of Earth. I want to make it look kind of like Earth, so these actually look like the coastlines of the country, and I can say that through using the colour of Earth. I don't need to actually put it there. So this is my language in another form of me saying, you know, when we fractalise everything, when you look at it in a minimal, it looks the same as the maximum, you know. So these Earth veins look like the coastline of a country, you know, where the sand meets the sea. When you look at it from afar, it looks the same as the blood vessels, or it looks like the same as the roots of the tree, or it looks the same as the veins on an eyeball. Do you know what I mean? So that's the fractality of it, you know. And then there's a divine light down there, and then I can play with that light shimmering up on all this light here. Do you know what I mean? And then we all use subconscious characters to display us almost magnetic energy of what we're trying to say. Like a lot of people that use the dragons may have a bit more of a sass of a magnetic energy, you know, where they can add more layers into it, because painting a dragon is way more layers. I like painting lions because the nose of a lion looks like the womb to me. The shape of each side of the lion's face look like the heart. You know, I like the shape of the magnetic energy of it, and the face looks like a diamond, you know. So, and then this painting, as it keeps changing as well, it's speaking to me at the same time, so I'm channeling information through it. So like the bit at the bottom of the hand here, you know, that's the paw of the Sphinx. So the paw of the Sphinx is going to be talking about the left and the right side of the brain. That's also linked with Cambodia. I live in Cambodia, like, we're finding magnetic energy up there. No one's listening to what we're saying. You know, here, like, we need to be going to these locations and wiring them up, you know, with certain groups of people. Like, there's so many dyslexic people I'm seeing on here that are putting up an artist I found the other day. Like, I'm studying time. I'm talking about becoming present. I'm talking about all these patternings. Yeah, and then I'm trying to link the patternings in my art through colour, because that speaks straight to the subconscious, the place that we're wanting to be at. And I found another thing on here the other day that said about dyslexic artist studying physics of time. He's talking about the same sacred geometry that I'm talking about, and the colour, you know, and how, you know, the Western bubble needs to be popped. It's not present. Like, and everyone's talking about, oh, this and that, yeah, maybe that may help the fractality come back to a whole, but at the same time, like, it is going to come back to the art. So, you know, where do we stand with all this? Yes. Sorry. I'm just like, I'm trying to piece all this stuff together, you know. And the way my brain functions, it does just see patternings. Like, I just keep seeing patternings. You know, and there's so many kids here with ADHD, with dyslexia, with autism. And because we can't communicate, like, I have a bit of a sweet spot. I've always had this said to me, like, Rosie, you have a bit of a sweet spot. Because I can paint and all that, and I can talk as well, whereas a lot of artists can't even talk. And I know this because I've been around them for long periods of time. I've just surrounded myself with these people, and I understand the capabilities of them. Yeah, and this is exceptional individuals in London as well, but he's getting them jobs because we're finding it hard to survive. I've never been able to write out a CV my whole life. How do they expect me to get a job, you know? I've actually sat there crying at computers for hours because I can't. You know, when I was at university, I had someone type it the whole time. When I was in school, I had someone type it the whole time. I've never been able to say the whole alphabet. I never was able to tell the time until I was, like, in secondary school, and I still struggle with it now. I can't drive properly because I don't understand the way roundabouts work, you know. And this has nothing to do with, you know, the drugs and the alcohol, whatever. I've actually haven't touched anything for years and years. Yeah, like, I have a bit of cannabis for my stomach because I'm ill, because I have a chronic illness, yeah, that I'm fixing on my own. But at the same time, like, even when I was in school, I've got school books up there from, I did my art 2 years early. So I actually started university at 16 when it should have been 18, and I actually had to fight with people to get in there because I had done my GCSE, you know, 2 years early in school because I was talented at drawing. Even then, my art books, when you look at the stuff they made me doing and the stuff that I wanted to do, my handwriting's different. You know, the left and right side of the pages look completely different in my work. So even from when I was born and when I was younger, you know, they're affecting the left and right side of the brain. And this is even before I touched alcohol or got older, you know, and had responsibilities. This is just from when I was younger, from what I was seeing then. You know, my brother and my granddad are colourblind. How does that work in the mind? They see their whole perception of the world completely different every day because the colour of it is different to them. The colour in this painting is different at many times of the day because the lighting's different outside from the sun. So this is what I'm saying about the vibration of colour. Language is also capping that because, you know, frequency and light, you know, we can't differentiate them because of the perception of language that's pushed it apart. So, you know, where do we move on from here as a community together? You know, we need to come to some kind of middle ground, like, because we're looking into all the crystalline stuff. Yes, we're looking into this and we're looking at the sun and we're looking at this. People don't understand. Like, we need to come to some kind of middle ground with it. And then when you look at all these talented, creative people, yeah, that aren't functioning in society, why is that? Why is that, you know? Like, it is because we don't want to sit at computers for hours. And then my brain, like, it's almost like all these people have come to the earth, yeah, because when we're sitting in school and we're not intaking what they're telling us because we're not supposed to. We're not supposed to be intaking the way they're trying to program us because we're meant to be here to change that. You know, but there's not many platforms for us to go to actually survive. Do you know what I mean? Like, a lot of these people, yeah, Matt and that are working with, in Exceptional Individuals, when I went to see him, he said to me, Rosie, I don't even want to give you to these people to work for them, because what he does is he gets the dyslexic people, he'll interview them, see their strengths and their weaknesses, and then he looks at all the, like, companies in London for, like, advertisement that he'll send them to for ideas and stuff. You know, like Richard Branson, Steve Jobs, they're all dyslexic. Yeah, and our brains, like, they really do work in different functions. And the way I view the world is completely different to a lot of other people, you know. But then, are we labelling these things? I am sometimes labelled ADHD. I'm sometimes labelled Asperger's. You know, I can sometimes be a bit autistic. So where do these things really lie? They all coincide in the same part. So what really is going on with this brain function? Because I use all sides of my brain, and when we do the testing with dyslexia and that, you know, the cortexes and stuff, it's like, and it actually makes me depressed. Like, I actually get depressed because of how much I intake. Yeah. Because I do intake things very differently. And, yeah, I struggled a lot of my life on Facebook, you know, putting my art up and selling it there and stuff, and going to all these galleries and dealing with all the dates and everything. Like, it's hard work, and this is why a lot of people don't survive in the arts, because everything around this reality is to stamp on it, basically, or to control it, you know. And with artists, like when I was performing, I go around and I do a different painting every day. You got these musicians, yeah, and this is what I mean about making things present, because musicians, they go around performing the same songs on stage all the time. Yeah, they're just performing the same frequency, so therefore it's like stuck. Do you know what I mean? A lot of people in here are saying the same things. So it's like stuck. Like, I'm doing all these videos saying the same thing, whereas yet in my art, I'm trying to progress, and I'm just seeing all of this talent all the time being stamped on. Like, how else can I put it out there? How else can I say what I'm trying to say? You know, when all these people stamp on me in galleries and stuff. Do you know what I mean? But I am at a sweet spot, so I am lucky I can talk. But, you know, I know a lot of these people and they struggle. They really do struggle. Like, so there is basically a war on the subconscious mind, on the arts. And when people start to realise what the art's full potential really is, because why are we finding all of these people with these thought patterns in the arts? Do you know what I mean? Why are all these people getting addictions? Why is all this stuff happening? I'm sorry to rant about it, but I'm going to put my foot down about it now, because it's actually making me depressed. It's actually making me depressed now, looking at all these people on it, looking at all this talent, yeah. And then I'm putting it into my art right now, but then I'll do this painting. I've got rolls and rolls of paintings set up here. I give them away to people to make them feel better who deal with mental health. Most of my paintings I have given away. I've made thousands off my art. And I don't even want to sell it for money anymore, because it actually makes me depressed, because I know how much more is in this shit. I know how much more is in this. I know how much more is behind it. I know how the emotional intelligence that it holds to create stuff like this. The billionaires wouldn't exist without imaginations like mine. And people putting the ideas up there, do you know what I mean? Like, they need creative people to survive off of. Yet they're not treating us right in the right manner at all, the creative arts. Why is art worth so much money, yet all the artists are in mental homes and being stamped on? Yeah, there is a lot of artists surviving. Even the tattooists are stuck. Do you know what I mean? In realms, they have to be healers to people. They're dealing with extreme pain. When you actually psychically tap into the frequency of the tattoo parlours and that, like, it's absolutely insane, the magnetic energy from them, from their thought processes every day, and then they're tattooing it with animal ink and that into people, causing pain. Yeah, so they're causing pain through these magnetic currents. Like, the arts, yeah, is being suppressed, and it's very, very important. Why do you think they're laughing at us? Putting them on boxes in rich people's houses. I'm not up for painting pretty pictures anymore. Do you know what I mean? I'm up for actually helping people, talking to their subconscious, helping people with a way out. We need to look at all this stuff in a new manner, like we really, really do. Because I know some really, really talented people who are like struggling to survive off of just these people, man. I'm struggling. Shouldn't be like that. I'm not saying we should be at the top, but I'm saying we should be able to enjoy these talents and, you know, teach other people to think for themselves, because people don't really know how to think for themselves anymore, because everything we want to do, we have to do it through this set up structure, and we don't want to be doing that anymore. So we're ending up in prisons, and we're ending up in mental homes, and we're ending up in all these other places, or we're ending up in places that antidepressants put us. Do you know what I mean? When you could take like a small microdose of mushrooms that are from Gaia, you know, that connect us to her frequency, that do more work in 3 days what stuff does in 3 months with people on antidepressants, that actually suppress all of that emotion, you know, when we should be using it and harnessing it in new forms, you know, because a lot of these kids, they are hybrids, and they are on the spectrum, yeah, and they are here to create change, and they're also very depressed, and they don't have a voice either right now. So we need to start giving it back to them, as they are the future, and the program isn't working for them like it didn't work for me in school, and it made me feel dumb. And I used to get locked in art cupboards drawing because people didn't know how to deal with me. Yeah, my mum kicked me out when I was 13. So I was basically on my own since I started uni at 16 early. So even when I left uni, all my mates were going to uni. So, you know, I function very differently, and I always have done. And it is because we're here to create change. So I am going to create change. And if I have to just talk about it like this and keep doing it, you know, I'd love to have everyone watching me do my art all the time. But, you know, I can't stand there with I can't cope with all these things when I have to disappear into this realm where I'm just creating. Because this is a very special place to be, and no one can go here really, because it's literally a war of trying to get to this place all the time. I've literally been fighting time my whole life to try and create these images and try and, you know, learn all this. Because this is what I love doing. But yet I'm fighting against having to do this and having to do that, and it's just like, why? Why, when I see the world, we could be, you know, in this other place where people are literally stuck in their own patterning. Yes, now we're releasing stuff from the DNA and that, but we can acknowledge the stuff and then acknowledge that loads of the key codes to the DNA are in art and frequency and music, because that is what we are at a cellular level, is light, frequency, colour, you know, we're all vibrating, even, you know, and it comes through to the thought process. It is the thought process. You know, but we can mirror ourselves whilst we're creating. And understand and be learning about us at a cellular level. Because everyone is different, everyone has DNA, everyone is a different concoction. Yeah, and that is why art is so beautiful. And when people do look at art, they always have different opinions of it. Always different opinions of it. Because that's what it draws out from their subconscious. Yeah. And like I said, in nearly every video I've done, art is nothing and everything at the same time. But there is so much corruption in the arts. The paintings are an underground mafia currency. They're suppressing the arts. There's loads of things to do in the cathedrals and all that. They've taken down some of the paintings in there because of some of the things in the art there. Because art functions, I keep saying to you about the tarot cards, they're not there to fortune tell. So the subconscious mind runs out of time. So what is linear time? Because we're creating when we're present. But like I said, there's so many things that are present at the same time. So everything that is present at that time is real. Yeah? And this comes down to the subconscious as well as everything else. But yet this is the root of it. So we need to go to the root of it to then figure out how it blossoms. You know, like the tree would go into the heart, yeah? We are at Gaia's heart, basically. Here. Like the core of the earth is her heart. It's frequency based. It's frequency and light. What is frequency and light? Is it the same thing? Is it separate? Language is capping this. So when I visualise things, I speak in a completely different language. You know, when I lived in Cambodia for months at a time, I didn't understand the girls I was living and working with, but yet we had such a strong bond and connection, and we'd laugh and we'd hang out all the time, but we couldn't communicate. But we did communicate through our energy fields. And a lot of people do this over there, you know, and they're happy over there. And then come on here and I listen to all these big words and all these people saying this and that. Yeah, I'm channeling some of them through my writings. But even when I wrote my dissertation, I made up my own language. I made up words that didn't exist to the lady typing them out. She said, Rosie, these words do not exist. I had whole meanings for them and everything. Where did that come from? You know, she made me look it up in a dictionary. Yeah. And there's other people doing this kind of stuff. So where are our minds tapping into? Anyway, I just do want to get the front out there of the neurodiverse, because this is a very important stage. And yeah, since finding this guy's channel the other day who says dyslexic artist studying the physics of time, he's basically saying the same things as me. So there's more to all this, and there's a lot of people appearing now struggling, and they're trying to kick them out of schools and that, and I'm not really happy about it at all. I'm really not. And I do want to start looking after these people, but we also need, you know, to change things. We need to change things in that manner. And I've been doing this for years, and I actually am having anxiety and fear over doing it because of how much is not out there about it already. Like, we have T. Taylor and that, who works on the autistic spectrum. Not saying you're autistic, but you're working within the autistic spectrum. And I have other people here, and we do have exceptional individuals, but they're not really on YouTube. So how do we pull all this together now? Do you know what I'm saying? And then we have a lot of people over in America. They're looking into the crystal stuff. I'm looking into the crystal stuff as well. But you know, even the deep state sent kids, indigo children, because indigo children link in with the dyslexic as well, sent indigo children down to the caves in Mexico to touch the crystals, using them like a USB stick to take information from them. And what is it? It's the coloured hue that causes the magnetism in the memory bank. So if we have high levels of memory bank, which is colour, high volumes of colour compressed create gold. So how do you know that even our subconscious mind at a deep level, if everything's vibrating colour and holographic, can't create gold eventually? The alchemization of it. And people can turn stuff, you know, with the telekinesis and all this stuff. You know, I've actually moved physical matter through crystals. Have evidence of it in my garden. Who's going to listen to this stuff? Who do we go to? We can't go to anyone because they're trying to stamp on this stuff. So we need to put it out in a manner of a vibration of love through ourselves. It is what we give out, what we vibrate, isn't it? So, you know, we need to come to more of a whole vibration, which would be love. But then love, again, is every vibration and one vibration, because love comes in every form. Love is in every dimension. That's probably why we're being pushed towards source, is in a frequency of love, because it does go in and out of every dimension. Even hate. Even the frequency of hate is because of love. Do you know what I mean? So we really need to start, and they're using these kids to see the pattern in a creative manner. Right, 24. I'm gonna come off this now anyway. But I just wanted to show you the update and what I'm thinking, because this is the only way I know how to get the information out right now, and maybe to coincide it with the art and show you step by step would help get my perception out. But, you know, people like me do need support. We do need support in some of these things. And I'm not sure the right way to go right now. So I'm just going to keep painting through it and see what comes out of that, because this is all I know how to do. all the shows and that I've done in the past have just caused me stress, or people don't get it. They turn up and they're stressed. You know, with the Western bubble is a mess. Like, they absolutely crave and love art over in Asia. If you go over there with art, they treat you like a king, you know, because it's like they know how precious it is and how much energy is in there. They love looking at it every day. I had people literally locking me in guest houses to paint there, wouldn't let me leave because they wanted me to paint and bring my energy. Yeah, here I'm like being stamped on. And then where is all the money? It's in the art. Everything you look at is art. Anyway, I will keep fighting for my art because it's what I love and it is a part of all of us. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, a lot of love, guys. We will get there. We need to start, you know, just looking at a few other angles. Because we do need to pull it into like a fractal, a minimal as well. Because this is what's calling in the energy from the planets. You know, and a lot of stuff is being hidden now. Anyway, a lot of love.